Let's book the next 5 years of CM Punk's WWE career. In the aftermath of SummerSlam in Cleveland, Ohio, CM Punk is in the midst of a feud with both Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. Punk is determined to regain his bracelet from McIntyre, and Seth Rollins has been brutally taken out by Bronson Reed. Punk and McIntyre's mutual hatred for one another leads to a fight on the following episode of Raw, but they are held apart by security before a true brawl can occur. On the next episode of Raw, Punk has a return to in-ring competition on the Red brand, but on his way to the ring, he's attacked by Bronson Reed. Reed takes out Punk just like he did to Seth Rollins. Punk is treated by medical staff as McIntyre watches on and likes what he's seeing. On the go-home Raw before Bash in Berlin, McIntyre and Reed stand united in the ring on Raw. A bandaged up CM Punk sprints to the ring, taking the fight to McIntyre and Reed. Punk lands a corner knee and bulldog to Bronson Reed, but when he gets to his feet, he is met with a claymore from McIntyre. Reed goes on to land a splash from the top rope, but Seth Rollins' music hits. Rollins returns to save Punk and scatters McIntyre and Reed. Rollins helps Punk to his feet, but Punk doesn't seem too appreciative of Rollins' help. Later in the night, Punk and Rollins demand payback on Reed and McIntyre. GM Adam Pearce responds by booking a Falls Count Anywhere tag team match at Bash in Berlin. The team of CM Punk and Seth Rollins will take on Drew McIntyre and Bronson Reed. Bash in Berlin arrives and the four men cause absolute chaos over in Germany. The fight spills out into the arena and the backstage area. In the closing moments, all four men are fighting on the catwalk backstage. Punk lands a GTS on McIntyre and he has the Scottish psychopath beat, but Punk looks over to see Bronson Reed about to throw Rollins off the catwalk. Does Punk save Rollins or does he pin McIntyre? Punk's mind is all over, he doesn't know what to do. But in the end, Punk shockingly decides to pin McIntyre as Bronson Reed throws Seth Rollins to his demise. Punk and Rollins win, but Seth has suffered serious injuries. Punk has reclaimed his bracelet, but Rollins may have lost his career. And it's all down to CM Punk's controversial decision. On the following Raw, Punk receives a mixed reception from the crowd. Punk says he did what he had to do to reclaim what matters most to him, and to get revenge on Drew McIntyre. McIntyre comes out and says to the fans, "This is the man that you cheer, a guy who can let another man suffer serious injuries in order to get what he wants." Punk says he doesn't like Rollins, but he would never want him to go through what he did. He feels terrible for Rollins, but he knows that Seth would have done the exact same if the shoe was on the other foot. Punk and McIntyre would feud heading into the Bad Blood PLE, where they would participate in a First Blood match. With WWE moving more towards edgy content once again, the First Blood match returns, as a fitting stipulation for the PLE. Punk would defeat McIntyre, blasting him with a hockey stick to the dome, busting him open. Punk trades a win with McIntyre on this night. The war with McIntyre concludes at Crown Jewel. Punk and McIntyre one final time. The match can only end with one man victorious, and late in the match, Punk has McIntyre set up for a GTS. But a fan appears at ringside distracting Punk. The distraction allows McIntyre to get to his feet as the Scottish psychopath lands a claymore for the win. McIntyre celebrates, and the fan reveals himself as none other than Seth Rollins. Although neither superstar would fully transition to being a heel, they would both share a mixed ovation from the fans, with strong Rollins supporters and die-hard Punk fans. Punk and Rollins would feud into Survivor Series, and the build-up would get very personal heading into the show, with Rollins promising to end Punk's career once and for all. Rollins is determined to stop the WWE return of CM Punk, exactly a year since his return in Chicago. Punk and Rollins would have a great match at Survivor Series, but it would end in controversy. Rollins would play possum by faking an injury to his back, which was of course injured a few months ago in that fall. Punk would hesitate to continue his offense, which allows Rollins to rise to his feet to land a superkick, and curb stomp to pick up the win. Punk showed mercy this time, and it cost him a victory. Punk and Rollins would both declare themselves for the Royal Rumble match. The two would do well in the match until finally coming face to face. Punk and Rollins would end up fighting, taking their attention off the other competitors in the match. Their hatred and intent to eliminate one another proves costly, as Theory and Waller blast both competitors with clotheslines to eliminate them from the match. Following the Rumble, Punk and Rollins' feud would only intensify, to the point that both men agree that Raw can't function with both men on the brand. Rollins sets the challenge to Punk for WrestleMania, with the stipulation of loser leaves Raw. Rollins says that he would rather risk losing and leaving Raw than sharing a locker room with the poisonous CM Punk. WrestleMania arrives and the two legends of WWE clash in an all-time Mania main event. During the match, Rollins would use Punk's GTS taunt, but this simply wastes time, allowing Punk to land his own GTS. Punk would land a Seth Rollins-style curb stomp just to add insult to injury. To ensure victory, Punk locks in the Anaconda Vice, and after almost 60 seconds of torture, the Architect taps. Rollins looks strong in his defeat, but his actions in mimicking CM Punk truly cost him the match. Punk wins, and Rollins is forced to leave Monday Night Raw. Following WrestleMania, Punk starts fresh on Raw. His rivalries with both Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre are dead and buried, and he focuses on building momentum and earning a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. But bumps into a familiar face a few weeks prior to Money in the Bank. Punk is called out by the legendary John Cena, who is in the midst of his farewell tour. Cena challenges Punk to a match at Money in the Bank 14 years since their historic match at Money in the Bank 2011. Punk accepts and the two run it back at Money in the Bank 2025. Ultimately, history repeats itself as Punk defeats Cena once again, as the two celebrate together after the match. Punk continues to climb the ladder on Raw over the summer, and feuds with Finn Balor's incarnation of the Judgment Day. To help him in his feud with the Judgment Day, Punk starts an unlikely duo with a new member of the Raw roster, Kevin Owens, to form the new team known as CMKO. Balor and JD McDonough are the current World Tag Team Champions and would lose their titles to CMKO at SummerSlam. Punk and Owens' title reign would only last a couple of months, as Punk would suffer a back injury at a live event that would sideline him once again. KO and Punk would be forced to relinquish the titles, and Punk would have to sit on the sidelines, where he would watch his tag team partner turn heel once again, and defeat current champion Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship in a triple threat at Survivor Series after pinning Damian Priest. Punk would make his return after 3 months away at the Royal Rumble. Returning to a huge ovation, Punk would win the Royal Rumble match and book his place at WrestleMania. Punk would choose to face his former partner Kevin Owens for his World Heavyweight Championship. Punk and Owens would finally go toe-to-toe at WrestleMania 42 for the World Heavyweight Championship. During the match, Owens would try to punish Punk's previously injured back, landing a powerbomb to the ring apron. Punk would fight through the pain to ultimately defeat Owens with a third and final GTS to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Owens would get a rematch at Backlash with an ambulance match stipulation. Owens vows to put Punk in the hospital once again, but he fails in his attempt, as Punk defeats Owens to retain the title. Punk marches on as a fighting champion, defending successfully against Chad Gable, Finn Balor and Carmelo Hayes over the coming months, and defeats Damian Priest at SummerSlam to retain the title. Towards the end of the year, a long-anticipated match is set to take place between Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. Cross-promotional warfare is in full effect as SmackDown's WWE Champion, deep into his third reign with the title, takes on Raw's World Heavyweight Champion at Survivor Series. In an awesome and memorable encounter between these two legends, Cody Rhodes walks out with the victory, defeating CM Punk in the main event. As 2027 emerges, both Rhodes and Punk have a close eye on the Royal Rumble. Bron Breakker would win the Rumble match and would confirm his shot at one of the world titles. Ultimately, Bron would choose the path of Raw and CM Punk, stamping his decision with a brutal spear. Bron and Punk would clash at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship, and in a competitive match, Bron's youth and dominance would defeat Punk to capture the title. In a passing of the torch moment, Punk drops the title to the future of the company. Punk attempts to regain the title at Backlash, but would fall short once again, failing to deal with the pace and power of Breakker. Realising his lacking performances, Punk questions the future of his in-ring career. Punk would quietly disappear from TV, leaving the fans to speculate on his future. After almost 6 months away, Punk would return as the special guest referee in the main event of Survivor Series, in the clash for the WWE Championship between SmackDown's Cody Rhodes and Dominic Mysterio. Dominic has ascended the ranks in the previous years, proving the doubt was wrong and improving in the ring, as well as developing an even more despised heel persona, dumping Liv Morgan a year or so prior before departing to SmackDown. Punk is brought in as the special guest referee as the event is in his hometown of Chicago. Punk arrives at Survivor Series ready to call the match down the middle. Well, that's what we all thought, but that's soon revealed to not be the case. After a 30-minute battle, Cody Rhodes lands on Crossroads and goes for the cover. Cody realises that Punk is not counting. The fans go crazy as Rhodes confronts Punk. Dom gets to his feet and blasts Cody with a GTS. A frog splash and a quick count robs Cody of his WWE Championship. Dominic Mysterio has won the WWE Championship, and it's all down to CM Punk. Weeks go by and there's no sign of CM Punk. New champion Dominic Mysterio refuses to comment when asked about an alliance with Punk. The company presents Starrcade in December, and over in the women's title scene, Rhea Ripley defends the WWE Women's title against Cora Jade. In the closing moments, a hooded figure hops the guardrail and distracts the referee. On the opposite side of the ring, a second invader enters the ring area, passing a hockey stick to Cora Jade. Cora grabs the stick and blasts Ripley with it. The referee turns around to Cora making the cover and counts to 3. Jade is the new WWE Women's Champion. The hooded figures reveal themselves as none other than Dominic Mysterio and CM Punk. On the first SmackDown of 2028, CM Punk introduces WWE Champion Dominic Mysterio and WWE Women's Champion Cora Jade as the followers of the Cult of Punk. Punk says his days in the ring are numbered, but his influence on the business will be eternal, in the form of his teachings and the success that Dom and Cora have and will achieve in their careers. Punk shares not only his wisdom, but his finishing moves, passing the GTS onto Dom and the Anaconda Vice onto Cora Jade. Mysterio and Jade's new finishes helped them retain the title on several occasions over the next few months, but as WrestleMania approaches, their new finishes will be tested, as Mysterio defends against Cody Rhodes and Cora Jade defends against Rhea Ripley. With Punk by their side and in controversial fashion, Punk's followers successfully retain their titles in shocking wins. The success of Punk's champions make fans start to believe in the Cult of Punk. The Cult of Punk thrives for the remainder of the year. Punk manages Cora Jade to many more victories, but Dominic suffers a huge loss, dropping his WWE Championship to Trick Williams at Starrcade in December. Dominic's failure causes Punk to question if Dom is truly the right investment for the Cult of Punk, and a rift soon begins as the year comes to its end. The Cult of Punk's star pupil Cora Jade defends her WWE Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley in a no-holds-barred contest at the Royal Rumble. Late in the match, Rhea is locked in the Anaconda Vice and is seemingly left with no choice but to tap. But when all hope seems to be lost, Dominic Mysterio's music hits the speakers and charges to the ring. Punk and Dom fight at ringside with the fans in attendance going crazy. With the events distracting Cora, she turns around to a riptide, as Rhea Ripley reclaims the WWE Women's Championship. Dom and Rhea are back together once again after almost 5 years since Dom's betrayal. At WrestleMania 45 in San Diego, Rhea Ripley would retain the women's title against Cora Jade, and Dominic Mysterio would defeat CM Punk in a San Diego street fight. The next month, Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley would take on CM Punk and Cora Jade at Backlash, where Punk and Cora would get their win back in a crucial victory for the Cult of Punk. After the feud with Dominic comes to an end, Punk states that all along, there could have only been one true future of WWE. Dom failed to realise his destiny, and the true future is Cora Jade. Punk guides Cora to reclaim her Women's Championship at SummerSlam, defeating Ripley. Cult of Punk is alive and well. Although Punk's attention is fully on guiding the stars of the future, his in-ring career has not yet written its final chapter. There may be one Punk match left in the tank, but for now, the Cult of Punk is thriving with Cora Jade as the sole member. The future for Cora Jade and the Cult of Punk is yet to be written. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to become a member of this channel, you can join for as little as 99 cents per month to receive access to exclusive badges and member polls where you can vote on future episodes. Or for just $3.99, you can gain early access to all my video uploads, where you'll be able to watch the videos a few hours earlier than everyone else, as well as be featured on the credits of my videos as a member shout-out. For more information and to join as a member, click the link in the description of this video. Thank you all for the support, and I'll see you on the next one.